Here is 5 things to do if you just switched from iPhone to Android. First of all, congrats on switching, or at least on trying to switch. Switching to Android can be very fun, but escaping Apple's ecosystem is actually quite the opposite. Make sure you watch until the end of the video too, because I've got some honorable mentions. These include some smaller things like alternatives to Apple services that you can look forward to using on your new Android device. So without further ado, let's get into it. Be sure to utilize the timestamps and skip around if there's something that you already know. So first up is something that a lot of people who are currently on Apple are concerned about, and that is Apple Card. Now, skip to this next timestamp if you don't have Apple Card, but if you do, stay tuned. So Apple's Wallet app, which houses all of the functionality of Apple Card, is only available on iPhone, which means that when you get rid of your iPhone, you won't have any way of paying your bill, but there is a way. And the solution is probably better than you think. See, when Apple Card first launched, for a while afterwards, the only way to pay your bill without an iPhone was to actually call Goldman Sachs and get on the phone with them, and it was a whole big process, and you had to give them your it was horrible. Thankfully, you can now go to Apple's website and access almost all of the same functionality, keyword almost, as your Wallet app. You can view your installments, download your statements after they have already came in, and of course make payments directly from the website. The only bad thing I noticed is, and this one's pretty big, is that there's not really a comprehensive list of all of your recent transactions like there are in the Wallet app. So until your statements come in after the month is already over, you're not going to be able to see your recent transactions, which is very unfortunate. This is still a great solution if you'd like to keep using your Apple Card maybe on the side a little bit, but I can see it definitely being hard to use it as your main card. I'm not sure why Apple doesn't just give you a list of the recent transactions like they do on the Wallet app, but here's to hoping they do it one day. Next up is a super quick change that you have to make if you just came from an iPhone with a home bar, which means no home button, which is like every iPhone since the iPhone 10 minus the SE. So basically all of them. Anyways, since those iPhones use swipe gestures by default, and by default Android uses this menu bar along the bottom of the screen, which houses a back button, a home button, and a recents button all in one little black bar, this whole thing is kind of intrusive on your screen real estate. And if you're used to the swipe gestures from iPhone, then this is going to work the exact same way. It's really easy to do, really quick. All you need to do is go into settings, tap the search icon to save you a few clicks. Start typing in navigation, and you should see it pop up under the category of display. The one you're looking for is navigation type. This is such a good change. I used the buttons for like a week and I'm not even sure how I got by with it because this is so much better. Don't forget too, you can swipe back just by swiping from either side of the screen, which is, iPhone doesn't have that, so. Next up is music. If you don't use Apple Music, then you are pretty much good to go. You can import your music into another service such as Spotify or YouTube Music or even Amazon Music if that's more your jam. But even if you use Apple Music, you can still use it on Android. Apple's first Android app, Apple Music, was released in November of 2015. Simply go to the Play Store and download Apple Music and sign into your Apple ID and you are all set. You're good to go. You can listen to all of your Apple Music on your Android. Number 4, and this one is kind of self-explanatory, but I wanted to throw it in here because it is super important. So number 4 is ensuring you know all the passwords to the various apps and games you'll want to transfer over to Android. Most all of the big name apps and games are available on both iPhone and Android platforms. So the only thing that you need to do is make sure you know the passwords to your account so that when you download the app on your Android and sign in, you can smoothly import your progress or bring over any progress or sign into whatever account you were using on your iPhone. Nothing sucks more than losing days or weeks or months or even years of progress on anything. This is made a little bit easier by using a password manager, which most people are using Apple's password manager if you are even using a password manager. I know some people might use other ones, but the majority either don't use a password manager or are using the built-in one from Apple. I use 1Password, not sponsored, not affiliated. I wish, but 1Password is just overall an amazing tool that takes all of the worry and stress away from having to remember your passwords. So what you can do if you use Apple's built-in one, you can import your passwords from there onto 1Password or either manually type them in. Can be a bit tedious, especially if you have a lot, but it's the most secure way. And the good thing is 1Password is available everywhere. On any platform, you'll always have it. One more before we get into the honorable mentions. This is a super quick one, but super important. Making sure you turn iMessage off on your iPhone, preferably before you get rid of it and move to your Android. Make sure you go into your iPhone and turn off iMessage. This will ensure all messages are delivered smoothly onto your Android. Now for some honorable mentions of some Apple services that you can look forward to using instead on the Android. You can find all of the same functionality of iCloud and more with Google and Google Chrome. Google Chrome can sync bookmarks and open tabs between your computer and your Android. Google Drive can back up pretty much any and all of your files. Google Photos is, in my opinion, a way better photo app than even Apple's Photos app. Google Fit for tracking your health and fitness, and Android Auto in place of CarPlay, although Android Auto, in my opinion, is still not as good as Apple CarPlay. And last but not least, Google Pay in place of Apple Pay. But there's also Samsung Pay. And of course, Google Maps in place of Apple Maps, but I feel like most people already use Google Maps anyways. I don't know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.